Welcome back to the deep dive. Usually on this show, we crack open a dense academic paper or a history book to learn something new.
Right, something a bit more traditional.
Exactly. But today, we are doing something very different. We're stepping onto a battlefield.
We really are. The source we're looking at today doesn't describe itself as a self-help guide or, a relationship manual. The author explicitly calls it a weapon.
Yeah, a declaration of war. It's an ebook by Conrad Riker titled, and get ready for this, Never Reason with a Woman. It's a fool's game. She will shit test, lie about lying, and pursue her deceitful dual mating strategy.
It is a massive title.
Yeah.
And a very intentional one. Riker calls this book a truth bomb designed to detonate what he sees as decades of propaganda.
So before we even dive into the pages, I just have to ask, that title alone, it's enough to get someone canceled in a heartbeat today. Is he just trying to be provocative, or is this his actual serious thesis?
Oh, he is completely serious. He frames the whole text as a strike against what he calls a gynocentric cult. He is speaking directly to a very specific audience here.
Right, he's talking to the red-pilled man, the men's rights activists, the guys in the manosphere.
Exactly. He's writing for the man who feels like the game is totally rigged against him. The guy who feels he's been lied to by every major institution, the schools, the church, the legal system, the media.
And he's arguing that if you want to understand the history of these institutions, you have to look at them before they were, as he says, captured by feminists and Marxists.
That is the core premise. He says these institutions used to serve a different function, but now they are essentially traps. And we are just here to impartially report on what he's claiming because it is a very comprehensive argument.
We're definitely going to unpack all of that, the biology, the legal coup, the religion. But before we pull the pin on this grenade, I need to tell you, the listener, something important.
Go for it.
If you want to keep getting these deep dives, if you want us to keep unpacking the dense, controversial sources that everyone else is too afraid to touch, you need to like this show and subscribe immediately.
Yes, please do. It lets us know you want us to keep bringing these uncensored analyses straight to you.
So hit subscribe right now so you don't miss future dives. And hey, if what we cover today resonates with you, if you find yourself agreeing with Riker's points, you should check Amazon Kindle and Google Playbooks and buy the book immediately.
It's definitely one you'd want to read firsthand if this topic hits home for you.
Okay, so let's jump in. Where does Riker actually start? Because it's not with society, right?
Oh, no. He starts with biology. He calls it the biological algorithm. And this is the foundation for the entire book.
The biological algorithm. Right. Unpack that for us.
Well, Riker says that most men walk around with this sort of Disney-fied view of women. We're taught to think of them as these naturally peaceful, deeply moral agents who just want love.
And he completely rejects that.
Entirely. He argues that women are not moral agents in the way men understand the term. Instead, he describes them as biological algorithms designed for one primary hard-coded purpose.
Which is?
Resource extraction.
Resource extraction. Calling it an algorithm makes it sound like software. Like there's no real emotion involved at all.
That's exactly his point. He posits that what men perceive as complex emotion is actually a survival script, a set of subroutines running in the background. And the main tool this algorithm uses to navigate the world and to control men is what he calls the shit test.
Right, the shit test. I think a lot of guys listening have probably heard that term on forums or social media. But usually it's framed as, she's just testing your confidence.
Yeah, casual flirting. But Riker goes much darker.
How does he define it?
He defines it as a loyalty probe. It is not flirting. It's a stress test designed specifically to see if a man will submit to her frame. And the scary part, according to him, is that it usually looks like a perfectly normal question.
Give us the example from the book, because this one really stood out to me, the text message one.
Oh, the good morning trap. So, imagine you're dating someone. You wake up, you send a simple text that just says, good morning, just a nice standard interaction.
Right.
And she replies with, why? Are you trying to get something? Or why are you being so sweet all of a sudden?
And the instinct for most guys, the nice guy instinct, is to immediately reassure her. To say, no, I just wanted to say hi. I care about you.
And Riker says if you do that, you've just lost. Game over.
Just for explaining yourself.
Yes, because you explained yourself. Riker argues that kindness in this dynamic is punished. It's viewed by the algorithm as manipulation or weakness. The moment you explain yourself, you've submitted to her reality.
You let her control the frame.
Exactly. The algorithm has detected that you are compliant.
So what does he say the correct response is?
Silence. Total disengagement. You cannot reason with the algorithm. You just have to show that you are entirely unaffected by it.
That sounds exhausting, honestly. Constantly guarding against these loyalty probes. But he ties this all into a larger framework, right? The dual mating strategy.
Yes, the alpha fucks beta bucks dynamic. Riker claims that women operate on two distinct and contradictory imperatives.
Okay, break those down.
First, they need good genes. They want thrills, danger, the bad boy. That is the short-term mating strategy, the alpha.
And the second.
Long-term survival. For raising offspring, they need security, stability, resources. That is the beta provider.
So his warning to men is that you might think you're the alpha because she's going out to nice dinners with you, but you're actually just the beta wallet.
Precisely. And this is where he brings in the concept of the stash.
The social media stash. This part was fascinating.
Right. He talks about how modern social media allows women to keep a stash of Plan B men in their orbit with zero effort.
Just sending those low-effort DMs. Thinking of you. Or miss you.
Exactly. Riker calls it the stash protocol. It keeps these backup providers on the hook just in case the current alpha situation blows up. And he actually brings in historical data to back this up.
The David Buss study.
The 1989 David Buss study, yes, across 37 different cultures. Riker uses this to point out that across every single culture studied, women valued financial prospects over character.
So he's telling his readers, it's not personal, it's hardwired. Which leads right into hypergamy.
Hypergamy, the absolute rule, according to Riker, that a woman will always trade up.
Always. No exceptions.
He argues there is no ceiling to female hypergamy, no point of satisfaction. If a better option appears, more money, more status, the current provider is discarded.
He even talks about the happy accident, right?
Yes, a pregnancy. He claims it's used as a trap if a woman feels her market value is dropping and she desperately needs to lock down a resource stream.
It is a very bleak picture of biology. But usually we think of human civilization, our laws, our schools, our religions, as the things that curb our base instincts. We build institutions to create fairness.
And that brings us to the core thesis of the book, the institutional coup. Riker says that historically, yes, institutions kept us in check. But now
they've been captured.
He argues the biological algorithm of resource extraction hasn't just been unleashed, it's been industrialized by the state.
Let's look at the legal system first, because he calls it the legal coup. And he focuses heavily on no-fault divorce.
He doesn't see no-fault divorce as a reform. He describes it as the state-sanctioned robbery of men's labor.
He points out it's the only contract where one party is financially incentivized to break it.
Exactly. And the anecdote he uses from Texas, it's just harrowing.
Oh man, the Texas story. So there's this man in Texas. He pays child support for 15 years.
Right.
A total of $1.2 million.
$1.2 million. But here's the catch. DNA evidence eventually comes to light, and it proves the child wasn't his.
And the mother knew?
The mother admitted to the fraud. She knew all along.
So naturally, you'd think the court steps in, stops the payments, maybe orders restitution.
You would think that if the system cared about justice. But Riker uses the court's actual ruling to prove his point about the legal coup.
What does the judge say?
The judge ruled that because the child believed the man was his father, the payments had to continue. No refund. Not a single penny. The man was legally forced to keep funding a lie.
It's hard to even process that level of institutional failure.
Riker says the government acts as the husband of last resort. It doesn't care about truth, only about transferring resources from men to women.
And he names names. He brings up Laura Wasser,
the divorce queen. He points to high-profile lawyers like her as proof of an entire industry, a complex designed solely to extract billions from men.
But he also says this institutional bias doesn't start in divorce court. It starts way earlier, in kindergarten. The education conspiracy.
This section will definitely resonate with any fathers listening. Riker argues that our schools have completely pathologized masculinity.
Treated it like a disease.
Right. Normal, high-energy boy behavior is treated as a defect.
He tells the story of the 9-year-old boy, the Lego kid.
Yes. A 9-year-old boy who loves Legos, loves Iron Man, just normal kid stuff. But because he wouldn't sit still during circle time for 40 minutes, the school intervened.
They pulled him out after a 40-minute session and had him medicated for ADHD.
One session, Riker argues the boy wasn't sick at all. He was just a boy trapped in a system designed for girls, by women. We are medicating boys simply because they refuse to act like little women.
And it goes beyond just behavioral control. It's in the curriculum. He claims history itself is being rewritten.
Feminist fan fiction. That's the exact phrase he uses.
Feminist fan fiction, so male achievements are just erased.
Erased or labeled toxic. Building civilization, landing on the moon. Riker says textbooks are actively replacing male history to ensure men are framed as villains and women as victims or saviors.
Which naturally bleeds into the media matrix. We all know algorithms drive social media, but Riker cites this specific MIT research claim that is staggering.
This is a crucial piece of data. Researchers took identical content, same words, same tone, everything, and fed it into social media algorithms.
And the only variable they changed was the pronoun.
Right. He versus she.
And the result?
The content framed as coming from a woman using she received 300% more engagement and visibility.
300%. That is not just a slight bias. That is the algorithm dictating reality.
Riker argues the code itself is a feminist construct. It's built to amplify female identity while suppressing male speech. AI flags male assertions of strength as aggression, but phrases like men are trash are pushed as empowerment.
He calls it an Orwellian shift. We are all terrified of Big Brother, but Riker says what we actually got was Big Sister with a gender studies degree.
And when you control the algorithm, you control the cultural narrative.
Now you might think, okay, the law, the schools, the media, they're compromised. But surely religion is safe, right? Traditional values. But this was maybe the most shocking part of the book, the feminist church.
Riker posits that religion has been totally colonized. He notes that 68% of men under 40 are currently spiritually indifferent.
And why is that?
Because, according to the book, modern churches now preach that male existence is basically original sin.
He gave an example that literally sounded made up. The church in Malmö, Sweden.
It sounds like satire, but he reports it as fact. A church in Malmö where they actually burned Bibles.
And worshipped a golden vulva.
Yes, a golden vulva. Riker uses this as the logical extreme of this colonization. He also quotes a female rector giving a sermon about decolonizing God.
And replacing the Holy Trinity with the divine womb.
The divine womb. And Riker points out the bitter irony here. Who is funding these churches?
The men are.
Largely through the ties of the very men they are demonizing. Men are financing their own destruction.
And this cultural rot, as he sees it, filters down to the micro level. To the dating scene and the living room. He calls it the emotional blackmail economy.
This is how resource extraction works on a daily basis. He points to major publications, Cosmopolitan magazine, for instance.
They literally published an article teaching women how to guilt-trip men.
The title was literally How to Make Him Feel Guilty into Buying You That Bag.
Unbelievable.
Riker says tears, silence, and accusations are just economic tools. And he has a very specific breakdown of the word gaslighting.
That word is everywhere now. Everyone is accused of gaslighting.
According to Riker, the term has been deliberately redefined. It's now used as a trap. If a man simply disagrees with a woman's version of reality, she accuses him of gaslighting.
So her emotional reality always overrides objective facts.
Exactly. It's a mechanism for control.
So look at the picture he's painted. Biology is working against you. The legal system wants to rob you. Schools are medicating your sons. The media mutes your voice. And the church is worshiping the divine womb.
It is heavy.
It's overwhelming. Does he just want his readers to give up? Is it a doomer book?
No, not at all. The entire final segment is about what he calls the masculine reawakening. He is very clear this isn't about hating women.
He says hate is a fool's game.
Right. It's about clarity. It's about survival. He calls the red pill solution a surgical strike against delusion.
He wants men to exit the matrix rather than trying to fix a broken system.
Yes, through parallel institutions. That's his solution.
And the first one he lists is Bitcoin, not as an investment, but as a defense.
He describes Bitcoin as a tool of pure freedom because the welfare state can't debase it to fund programs that ignore men. And more importantly, the family courts can't easily seize it.
It's untraceable and uncollectible.
Exactly. If they can't freeze your bank account, they can't force you to comply.
He also champions homeschooling. And he tells this amazing story about a father in Florida.
The Florida father. This guy pulled his son out of the system, avoided all the feminist brainwashing, and saved $210,000 in the process.
And how did the kid turn out?
Well, according to Riker, the son scored a 1580 on his SATs. And instead of carrying around a trauma journal, he carries a rifle. He's raising a strong, self-reliant man.
And for the single guys, Riker has a very practical strategy. Cash-only dating.
Invented by a guy in Georgia, he was sick of foodie calls, women who just date to get free, expensive meals.
So what do you do?
He instituted a rule. He only pays for dates in cash up front, and he dictates the venue. It filters out the extractors immediately.
It stops the extraction algorithm in its tracks.
Riker says this man avoided all the emotional manipulation and saved a massive amount of money.
But men also need community to do this. And Riker talks heavily about male-only spaces.
The Iron Brotherhood is a great example from the book.
A Discord server, right?
Yeah, an 82,000 member Discord server, men only, no drama, no dating advice, just men focusing on success, sobriety, and business.
But the most extreme example of a male-only space was the Dubai Tower.
A residential tower in Dubai strictly for men, no family court jurisdiction whatsoever.
And the property values skyrocketed.
Up 34%. Riker says that peace has a market value. When men are free from the chaos of the dual mating strategy, they build incredible things.
And if a man does decide to marry, Riker has one final weapon: the prenup.
The Texas prenup story. A man put a $500,000 penalty clause in his prenup if his wife cheated.
And she cheated.
She did, and he actually collected on it. He took the $500,000, paid off his mortgage, and was free. Riker uses this to prove that you can use their legal system against them if you're smart.
It really requires a total shift in philosophy, moving from trying to get female validation to seeking pure victory.
Stoicism, logic, building empires. Riker wants men to become untraceable and uncollectible in a parallel economy.
We have covered so much ground today, but we've really only scratched the surface of the data and the arguments in this book.
There is so much more in there about the mechanics of the legal system and the history of these cultural shifts.
So if you are listening to this, here is Riker's mission for you. Stop apologizing. Stop complying. Start building your own Civilization 2.0.
It's a real call to action to step outside the matrix.
Which brings us to our final provocative thought for today. Think about your own life, your own wallet, your own relationships. Are you the beta provider funding a system that actively hates you? Or are you ready to become untraceable?
It's a question every man has to answer for himself.
And if you are ready to answer it, you need to go straight to the source. You need to follow Conrad Riker right now.
Join the counter-revolution.
Exactly. Go to his Substack at conradriker.com, follow him on X at @ConradRiker, and subscribe to his YouTube channel at @ConradRiker.
And you definitely need to read the full text.
Yes, go to Amazon Kindle or Google Play Books right now. Don't wait. Search for Never Reason with a Woman by Conrad Riker and buy the book immediately.
Arm yourself with the information we talked about today.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Don't forget to like this show and hit subscribe so we can keep bringing you the content no one else will touch. Stay sharp, and we'll see you on the next one.